Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and was overwhelmed by how weird it is that you exist? Or looked at the stars at night and wondered where it all came from? Is it possible that God has placed this in you? That's what we're trying to find the answer to right now. In this series, we are looking at the natural signposts that point us to God. These signposts are not proofs, they're signs that point us in the right direction. But actually, they're also resistible, or they could be misunderstood based on a person's perspective. For instance, think about the road signs that are common in our day: stop, yield, speed limit, railroad crossing. The meaning of these signs are obvious to most of us who have grown up in this society, but that's because we were taught how to interpret them. In the same way, the natural signs for God's existence can be observed by anyone, but we rely on others to teach us how to interpret them. With that in mind, let's take a look at the first of the signs. Have you ever wondered why there is something rather than nothing? Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and considered how strange of a thing existence is? I know that's a pretty deep thought, but it's at the heart of the first sign of God's existence, what C. Stephen Evans calls the experience of cosmic wonder. The fact is that what is true about us, that we might never have existed and yet do, is true about the whole universe. Scientists tell us that the existence of the universe is an incredibly unlikely event. The constants of the natural laws that are necessary for the universe ever to have come into existence or to maintain its existence are so precise and so unlikely that it's practically a miracle that anything is here. But this argument isn't exactly about that, at least by itself. The argument is that we know it's amazing that anything exists, and it fills us with wonder. These signs are not always things that exist outside of ourselves, that we see with our eyes. They're intuitions that we share about life that seem to transcend cultural conditioning. They're common, almost universal human experiences. Many atheists who reject this argument at least acknowledge the emotional power this sense of wonder has. I think we can take it as a fact that the universe does exist. And most everyone would agree that at some point in our lives, we have all experienced this sense of wonder. The question is, what is the best explanation for this sense of wonder that is universal to the human experience? Now, an atheist might wave this intuition off as an accident of our evolutionary history. Yes, it's there, but we just have to live with the fact that evolution does strange things. Now, that's certainly one possible explanation, although it's a really sophisticated way of saying we don't know why we have this sense of wonder. Now, the other possibility is that God placed inside each of us that sense of wonder. It's similar to when St. Augustine observed that God has placed eternity in every human heart. We have this nagging sense that what we see is not all there is, and we have a desire to know the whys of life, why we exist, why anything exists, and how did it all come to be. Modern Western culture tries to extract it, but it just keeps coming. See, I believe that sense of wonder suggests that we were designed by our Creator with this impulse. Now, this is one signpost that points to God. Maybe it's convincing for you, maybe it's not. Either way, keep watching, and we'll talk about more.